ha 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 ha! Say, Uncle Ike, they told me you and Bill Loolin got in a scrape the other day.
You can call it a scrape or anything you want to, but Bill won't get me in nigh anothern. You know Bill loves his dram. Just give him some liquor and a plug of tobacco, and all Bill wants is a half-acre of ground to spit on.
Ha 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 ha!
Well, it was this way. I see Bill down at the mill, and he said he believed the revenues was the drinking part of the liquor they captured instead of pouring it out. And he wanted us to go over on Lookout Mountain and pretend to be revenues and capture some liquor for the bean stringing.
Ha 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 ha! Well, did you get the liquor?
No, there was a little boy heard us a-talking, and he give us away, for he lived over on Lookout Mountain. Me and Bill went to capture the liquor, but when we got on top of the hill at Pat Flanagan's new ground, 4 guns come poking out of the bushes, and a coarse voice said, "Hands up."
Ha 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 ha!
Well, our hands went up, and 4 men walked out. Well, pretty soon along come a sled load of barrels, and they unloaded a big barrel and put Bill in it, and packed leaves all around him, and put the head back in, and concluded they'd just roll him down the hill through Pat's new ground.
Ha 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 ha!
Well, I knowed them fellas wasn't a-joking, and there was more barrels on that sled, and I thought my turn was a-comin' next, and right then I was a-wishing I'd a-stayed at home and a-worked and a-minded my own business, for I'd rather split rails and drink vinegar than to be put in a barrel and roll downhill.
Ha 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 ha!
And I didn't want to go to the bean stringing nohow, for Sal Spriggins had done got married.
Ha 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 ha!
You needn't to laugh, me and Bill was in a fix, for one of them fellers kept asking me how we liked playing revenue. Well, pretty soon we heard some guns fire over on another ridge, and a bullet whistled over our heads, and them fellers run, and I did too.
Ha 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 ha!
Well, after a while, everything got still, and I sneaked out to turn Bill loose, and there stood the biggest bear you ever seed inspecting that barrel.
Ha 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 ha! What did the bear do?
Well, when I seed that bar, right then I climb a sapling. That bar walked around and around that barrel and smelled first one side and then t'other, and he slapped it with his paw and it fell over with the bung hole up. And he seed the bung hole and he stuck his nose in it and growled. I like to fell out of that sapling when that bar growled.
Ha 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 ha!
Then he tried to stick his paw in but couldn't. Then he turned around and stuck his tail in the bung hole to try to feel out the internalments of the barrel.
Ha ha ha! Hee!
Well, all at once the bar kind of scrooched up and wiggled, and an old Bill had nabbed him by the tail. And Bill must have twisted his tail, for all at once the bar gave a big growl and jumped about 10 feet and started right down through Pat Flanagan's new ground. And they wasn't going slow either, for Bill never let go of the bar's tail when they started.
Ha 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 ha! Hee!
Well, right then I forgot everything else and jumped out of that sapling and run after 'em a-hollering, "Hooray for Bill Doolin, me and the bar!"
Hee! Ha 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 ha!
Well, I run over rocks, stumps, and log piles, through tree laps, over chinky pin bushes, and through briar patches, and me a-hollering, "Hold fast, Bill, something will happen directly."
Ha 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 ha! Hee!
Well, they run right through a rail fence and made a beeline for Pat Flanagan's house and run in at the front door. And the barrel hit the doorsteps and busted wide open, and Bill rolled out and jumped up and hollered, "Who lives here?"
Ha 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 ha! Hee!
But Pat's folks had seen the bar coming and had streaked it down the branch, and the hound dogs went too, for Pat had lots of dogs.
Ha 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 ha!
Well, the bar run right through the house and upset the eating table and tore down the cook stove and turned over the cream jar and out through the backyard and knocked down the bee stands and reckon he's running yet. Bill said he intended to let go of the bar's tail when they started, but things happened so fast then he couldn't. Pat says he's going to sue me and Bill for damage, but I don't see how he can. It was the bar that tore things up and not us. Bill says all he hates about the scrape is he broke his Waterbury watch and it cost him $1 to get it fixed.